Hello, economic students. This is a good time to take a step back and get a little bit of history, okay? Today I want us to talk about Adam Smith. Adam Smith is the father of economics. He's the first person really that we would ever say was truly an economist. And the reason I want to talk about Adam Smith today is because in a previous lesson we talked a little bit about voluntary exchange. And Adam Smith is really his ideas that helped us to understand the importance of voluntary exchange as that element of free enterprise which really creates wealth. So let's talk a little bit about Adam Smith. There are a few economists whose names I want you to remember through the course of this semester, and most certainly Adam Smith is one of them. So take a few notes here on Mr. Smith. First of all, a little historical background on Adam Smith. He was an 18th century Scottish philosopher. 18th century meaning that he was doing his writings during the 1700s. And in 1776, he published the book that really was the defining book of economics for many, many, many years. And his book is called The Wealth of Nations. And he published that in the year 1776. Of course, that's the same year that the Declaration of Independence was written in the United States. So 1776 was an important year. And one of the important things was the publication of Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. In his book, he was highly critical of a couple of economic systems that had really been dominant in Europe for hundreds of years, really, and in the case of feudalism, even longer than that. Feudalism is an economic system which basically has the economic hierarchy in a pyramid where you have the king of a country on top, and then you have various levels of nobility underneath the king, nobility such as, dukes and earls and counts and that sort of thing. And then you have people who would be the artisans or craftsmen who would be down pretty low in the feudal structure. And finally, you might have a class of people called serfs, S-E-R-F-S, serfs who were tied to the land, agricultural workers, really not much different than slaves, who had very little in the way of freedom and had to work the land for higher up people in that hierarchy. Now, the king allowed these noblemen to have the land, and then the noblemen allowed people, had people working for them. But in exchange for the king allowing these people to have land, the noblemen were also required to give the king soldiers, to give the king labor in the event of a war. And that was where the trade-off occurred. The king gives the noblemen land to do with as they wish, but in return, if asked, they had to provide some of the labor. Some of those serfs or other farm workers had to be made available for the king's army when the king went to war. That's sort of a very simplified look at what feudalism was all about. Mercantilism was an economic system based on the idea that the key to a nation's wealth was the accumulation of gold and silver and that type of resource. That the more gold that you could accumulate in your country, the more wealth your country would have. Adam Smith is very, very critical of both of these systems. He absolutely despised the idea of feudalism for its lack of freedom that was given to people. And he also strongly disagreed with mercantilism in its definition of wealth, being the accumulation of gold. Adam Smith said that the key to wealth is not the accumulation of gold or other monetary resources, that in fact, the freedom to exchange your labor and goods for the things that you want, that's what is the key to wealth. And that's what voluntary exchange is. One of the important characteristics of free enterprise is voluntary exchange. And that's the exchange of your labor or other goods that you might possess for something that you would prefer to have. Okay, voluntary exchange. Why do I spend $1, for example, on a Reese's peanut butter cup? because I value the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup at that moment in time more than I value the dollar bill or other things I could get with that dollar bill. That's voluntary exchange. I voluntarily give away that dollar bill to the store owner. The store owner is very happy to receive my dollar bill because he would rather have that dollar bill than the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup that's sitting on his counter. Okay, so we both benefit. I get that which I desire, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, and the store owner gets that which he desires, the dollar bill. We're both better off. Okay, so here's a quote from Adam Smith. You don't have to write this down, but Adam Smith says in The Wealth of Nations, "Give me that which I want, and you shall have this which you want. And it is in this manner that we obtain from one another the far greater part of those good offices which we stand in need of. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own self-interest." That's a lot of stuff there in that sentence. So what is this saying, actually? Well, basically what it's saying is, if you look at that last sentence there, the butcher, the provider of food, the brewer, the provider of drink, or the baker, the provider of bread, they're not giving us the food, the drink, the bread from their own, benevolence, from their own kindness. Okay? They don't give us that stuff because they're being kind. They give us that stuff because it is in their own self-interest to do so. And why is it in their self-interest? It's in their self-interest because they would rather have my money for those things that they can provide me than to keep that stuff they can provide me on their shelves. And they want to make sure that they're the best baker or the best brewer or the best butcher because they want to make sure that I go to their shop and not to the shop of one of their competitors. So again, it's not because they have this great desire to necessarily be the best at what they do, although that might give them a sense of inner fulfillment. But really, they want to be the best of what they do because it is in their self-interest to be the best at what they do. That means they'll get more money, they'll be richer. And why do I buy that stuff? I'm willing to give away my money. I'm richer as a result of that exchange. I give you my money for the stuff that I want to eat or drink. I feel better with that stuff. Okay? Voluntary exchange. We exchange for goods and services based on our own self-interest, and as a result, we're better off. I am wealthier having a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup in my hand than having a dollar bill in my hand. Why am I wealthier? Because I would rather have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup than the dollar bill. Conversely, let's take money out of the picture. Let's say that my friend has a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup and I have a Kit Kat bar. They're both worth $1, but I would rather have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup and my friend would rather have a Kit Kat bar. We make an exchange. The monetary value of the two items hasn't changed, but both me and my friend are wealthier because now we have that, we possess that, we own that, which makes our life better. Having the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup in my own way of thinking is better than having a Kit Kat bar. I'm better off with the Reese's. My friend preferred to have the Kit Kat bar. He's better off now than he was when he had a Reese's. Wealth was created, okay, because now we have that which we both value higher than what we had before. That's Adam Smith, and that's the key to wealth. Another thing that he said, which I think is interesting, is corn is a necessity. Silver is only a superfluity. What does that mean? Well, corn here, of course, represents food. Okay, it represents a consumer good. Silver represents money. Money has no intrinsic value in and of itself. Look at your dollar bill that you have. It's simply a mix of paper and cotton that's been put together, meshed together into a dollar bill. It has no real value. The value of money is what you can buy with it. It's the consumer good that you get with the money. Money is merely a tool used to get a consumer good, and it is the consumer goods that we can get with our money that makes us wealthy. I could be sitting, I could have $2 million in a bank account right now. That $2 million doesn't make me wealthy, but it does give me the potential of being wealthy. It gives me the potential of being wealthy because of what I can do with that $2 million. I can get that which makes my life better. But money in and of itself does not make my life better. It's what I can do with the money that does. And those are Adam Smith's insights. Really, really important. Okay, I'm going to stop there. No need to get into this next section. We're going to stop this presentation on Adam Smith, and we're going to look a little bit more in detail now at voluntary exchange. Talk to you later.